Everyone is afraid of something. It is a fact of life, whether it be something fairly ordinary such as spiders, small spaces, bugs, or even snakes. When you encounter one of these fears, you may be struck with an intense panic attack and you physically can't bear to be around it or even look at it. However, some fears are less common and may come as a surprise to a lot of people. Or maybe you suffer from one of these fears and it will be comforting to know that you are not alone. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 scary phobias that really exist. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at number 5, we have Thalassophobia. Now, I'm going to preface this point by stating that I have this fear. I think I do anyway, and it absolutely terrifies me to even think about it. Thalassophobia is an intense and persistent fear of the sea. This can include the fear of being in deep bodies of water, fear of the vast emptiness of the sea, of sea waves, sea creatures, and fear of distance from land. I quite literally have all of the above. Now, though it sounds similar to aquaphobia, it is not. Aquaphobia is the fear of water itself, whereas thalassophobia is a fear of bodies of water that appear vast, dark, deep, and dangerous. Whatever you do, don't make the same mistake I did and Google this phobia, because I stumbled across the Reddit page r/thalassophobia. And on it were some of the most terrifying things, and it has honestly triggered me more than you will ever know. From cargo ships being blasted by monstrous waves, to unexplainable sea creatures and simply the vastness of the ocean. The entire page is truly terrifying, and I do not recommend checking it out unless you want to have an intense anxiety attack like I did yesterday. 10 out of 10, do not recommend. Coming in at number 4, Phonophobia. Phonophobia is the fear of or aversion to loud sounds, and quite honestly, I think I might have this one as well. I hate unnecessary noise, especially when it's loud, particularly pots and pans banging in the early hours of the morning. It fills me with so much rage. However, this phobia can also mean a fear of voices or a fear of one's own voice. It is said to be a very rare phobia. Related to this is agoraphobia, which is the fear of devices that can suddenly emit loud sounds, such as computer speakers or even fire alarms. I mean, I don't think anyone is particularly fond of fire alarms, but I'm not fearful of them. When operating a device such as a home theater system, computer, TV, or CD player, people may wish to have the volume turned all the way down before doing anything that would cause the speakers to emit sound. Sufferers may also avoid parades and carnivals due to the loud instruments such as drums. Another example might be watching someone blow up a balloon beyond its normal capacity. This can often be found to be unsettling, even disturbing for a person with this phobia, with the sufferer anticipating a loud sound when the balloon pops. And when it does, this may result in a severe anxiety or panic attack. Honestly, I hate the sound of a balloon popping. Balloons really scare me. I don't like to be near them, so I think all of these fears are my fears. Coming in at number 3, we have somnophobia. Somnophobia is the fear around the thought of going to bed/sleep. It's also referred to as sleep anxiety or sleep dread. Sleep disorders can oftentimes cause anxiety around sleep, and if you have insomnia, you might worry throughout the day about whether or not you'll be able to sleep that night. Not to mention, if you experience sleep paralysis, that may also contribute to sleep-related worrying. Most of us love sleeping. I wish I was sleeping right now. However, if you have somnophobia, it can be incredibly distressing to even think about sleeping. Now, in many cases, the phobia stems less from the fear of sleep itself, but more so what might happen to you while you fall asleep. As we all know, Freddy Krueger thrives in our dreams, taking us down one by one. Anyway, somnophobia can cause a range of other mental and physical symptoms, and specific symptoms may include feeling fear and anxiety when thinking about sleeping, experiencing distress as it gets closer to bedtime, avoiding going to bed or staying up as long as possible, having panic attacks when it's time to sleep, having trouble focusing on things besides sleep-related worry and fear, experiencing irritability or mood swings, having a hard time remembering things. It is said that PTSD can also be a contributing factor to somnophobia. Coming in at number 2, we have robophobia. Robophobia is the fear of robots, drones, robot-like mechanics, or artificial intelligence. It frequently results in a panic attack and is often triggered by simply viewing a robot, being near a robot, or in some cases just talking about robots. Folks who suffer from robophobia will often find their anxiety levels rising when they are near autonomous machines, and in turn will avoid certain machines and computers and will prefer hardwired telephones over cellular phones such as smartphones that can sense location, position, etc. According to the book Phobias, Phobias, a handbook of theory and treatment, between 10 to 20% of people worldwide are affected by Robophobia. Even though many of them have severe symptoms, a very small percentage will receive some kind of treatment for the disorder. The phobia is said to typically develop during childhood and teenage years, and many sufferers believe that robots may actually take over the world, and honestly, they probably will. A handful of famous people also suffer or suffered from this phobia, including Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates. Why Elon Musk is afraid of robots, but also was sending like spaceships and drones and cars into space, doesn't quite make sense to me. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Taphophobia. Taphophobia is the irrational fear of being buried alive and is closely related to the fear of death, fear of tombstones, as well as cemeteries, and the fear of tight and enclosed spaces. Throughout history, there are hundreds of documented cases of people being mistaken for dead and in turn buried alive. How terrifying is that? Oftentimes, people in comas or people who had no pulse were buried alive, resulting in these people waking up on the dissection table, or others would be discovered upon opening the family tomb. Now, this became such a problem that many graves were provided bells to help detect such mistakes. This even led to the famous phrase, "saved by the bell," with people who were buried alive ringing the bell for help. As we know, death is a frightening thing. We can't fathom it simply because we can't fathom the idea of not being able to think. Not to mention, we don't know where we go after death. Does heaven exist, or are we plunged into darkness? I also heard a scary fact on TikTok, which was less of a fact and more of a terrifying statement. We know what happens to us after death because we've been there before we were born. Ugh, Chris, isn't that scary? I don't like that statement. I hate it more than anything. Many celebrities also suffer or suffered from this phobia, including Edgar Allan Poe, George Washington, Chopin, and writer Hans Christian Andersen. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any phobias that we missed? Leave us your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos, top 5 scary teacher stories that will keep you up tonight. DMB Land said, Lucy did the best horror movies of 2019 with Keegan, I believe. This conversation was apparently still going on. You guys are really curious as to whether me and Keegan, that's how little I know of this man. A lot of you were curious as to whether me and Keegan had collabed on the channel, and we had. I guess it was in movies of 2019, so look it up and there will be. The one and only time we've ever interacted with each other. That's not true. I've said hi like now and then. Sometimes I see him and I say hi. I'm just kidding, I don't even say hi. We're strangers. God, don't even know his last name. Tori Benson said, who would love to have Lucy as a teacher? No, not me. No thanks. I don't think I'd be very good. I've got too much of a temper to be a teacher. I'd be the one throwing the rubbers of chalkboards at people. What are they called? Eraser. Chalk eraser. Largo778 said, headline from When Lucy Goes on Vacation. Small mountain town destroyed by eldritch horror. Only a YouTube host survives. And that's the dream. I mean, I love Banff, but RIP to everyone else because I'm coming there soon. Rita Mike said, so would carrots count as an acceptable offering to the Demon Queen Lucy? I love carrots, but I don't love them that much. I would prefer literally anything else. Ruben Wilson said, ironic that Lucy sounds like a teacher and is talking about dodgy teachers. Lol. I didn't realize I sounded like a teacher. This is just how I sound all the time, so maybe I should have been a teacher. But wouldn't lasted long. Didn't like school, so I also didn't get good grades, so I don't think I would have been a teacher. Bobby No Last Name said, anyone else here only for our dark goddess Lucy? Well, Bobby, no one liked your comment, which means no, they weren't here for only me. Just you, apparently, but thank you. Much appreciated. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, I'll see you later. Okay, Thalassophobia, Phonophobia, Ligophobia. Thrives in our dreams, taking us down by one he does know too much. He's trying to get out. Taphophobia. It like gives me severe anxiety. Like just that statement. We know what happens after death because we were there before we were born. Ugh! Like, don't I don't like it. Like, I know, and that's the thing, like you can't think about death because when you're dead, you have no consciousness. Yeah. And you can't think about not thinking because you're thinking. That's what me up. Like, you can't think.
Yeah, you just can't think of it.
You can't think of nothing because you're thinking about something. Like, it's up. It just like too much for my brain. Like,
Really?